So will be the first life on Mars, the furthest that life's ever traveled. That seemed like it would get people pretty excited. So I started getting into this and trying to figure out, okay, well, can I afford to build the spacecraft? Because I had some money from as a result of PayPal, but it had to fit within that budget.
But you were willing to bet the farm, so to speak, on this.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I figured like I was willing to spend half the money that I got from PayPal.
Yeah.
With no expectation of return.
Right.
Because I thought this was just something that was pretty important, and yeah, I'm like, it seemed like I could spend half the money I made on PayPal on this, and it would be, if that got NASA a bigger budget and resulted in us going to Mars, that would be a pretty good outcome.
And when your friends came or your family came up to you and said, look, you know, there's nations that can't do this. You know, you're a guy, but you have some resources. What did you say or do or think?
Well, so I had a lot of friends of mine try to talk me out of starting a rocket company because they thought it was crazy. And one friend of mine made me watch a video of rockets blowing up. I just thought that it was important that humanity expand beyond Earth, and we weren't doing that, so maybe there was something I could do to kind of spur that on. And then I was able to compress the costs of the spacecraft and everything down to a relatively manageable number, and I got stuck on the rocket. The US rockets were way too expensive. So I ended up going to Russia, flew to Russia 3 times to negotiate purchase of an ICBM. I tried to buy 2 of the biggest ICBMs in the Russian fleet in 2001 and 2002. And I actually negotiated.
I'll just let that statement stand. I'm not even going
to. I mean, that's.
Well, actually, I have to. Like, who did you call? No, I mean,
you open the yellow pages.
Yeah,
go to
I'm in the market.
Like,
I mean, how does this? I mean, I don't want to get too much in the weeds, but I am curious. This is one particular thing. You decided at some point you need to buy an ICBM.
Yeah. Well, actually, at first I tried to buy just a normal launch vehicle that they used to launch satellites.
Right.
Those were too expensive.
I see. I see.
The Boeing Delta II would have cost $65 million each, and so 2 would have been 130, and then I was like, whoa, okay, that breaks my budget right there.
Yeah.
And I tried to negotiate with them, and that was not.
How much does an ICBM go for? I'm curious, what's the market rate for one of those?
But in 2001, it would have been about $10 million. But then after the 3rd trip to Russia, I came to realize that I was actually wrong about that on my first premise, that there was a lack of will. In fact, I think that there's a tremendous amount of will in the United States for space exploration. Because the United States is essentially a nation of explorers. But what people don't want to think is that, okay, sending people to Mars is going to be so expensive that they'll have to give up like healthcare or something.
Right.
They're not going to do that. So it's got to be, it's got to be that going to Mars is not going to cause some meaningful drop in their standard of living.
Right.
You know, but there actually was plenty of will if people thought there was a way. So then I said, okay, well, I need to work on the way. Yeah. How hard is it really to make a rocket? In historically, all rockets have been expensive. So therefore,